Hey, it's Luminousz Star. Welcome to the channel. Today's video is the empath and the narcissist coexist for a purpose. This video may be difficult for some to watch and listen to, so mind the description box below for that disclaimer. Also, mind the description box below for further details to today's video. Don't forget to share and like the video. And of course, special shout out to my stars who share their stories. Not only do you inspire me to keep this channel Luminousz Star active, but you motivate and you inspire other people who resonate with your story. So keep sharing your stories. Our community is growing. The Luminousz Star channel is growing. So I just want to say again, thank you, my stars, for absolutely keeping me motivated and inspired to keep this channel active. Mwah! Thank you so much. All of you who are visiting for the first time, join the Star family by hitting that subscription button below. We would love to have you a part of our community, a part of the Star family, as you also share your stories. You never know who's going to resonate with your stories. All of us can thrive forward together. I'm Luminousz Star. Stay tuned for the video. Hi, this is Luminousz Star. We're going to be talking about the empath and the narcissist coexist for a purpose. First point, every relationship has opportunities for valuable lessons to be learned by everyone involved in the relationship. The most painful and most pleasant relationships all serve a purpose. There are some people who will become open enough to learn and some individuals who will not be interested in learning any valuable lessons, which promotes personal growth. Next point. Both the empath and the narcissist have narcissistic tendencies. Both the empath and the narcissist tend to overly depend upon others for emotional needs, therefore behave codependently. When narcissists and those who are empaths are involved in a dysfunctional relationship, it is an opportunity for both to learn very valuable lessons, which can be very healing. Unfortunately, either the narcissist and or the empath walks away, ending the relationship, feeling more pain, trauma, or fear than before. When cluster B personalities, narcissists, and empaths have a dysfunctional relationship, usually it is the empath who can see that the relationship is dysfunctional first. Narcissists and cluster B personalities, they usually thrive on toxic and dysfunctional relationships, so they're not going to be really eager okay, to end the dysfunctional relationship unless they have another source supply that seems more, well, promising than the current source supply, which could be the empath or the one who behaves codependently. When an empath and a narcissist is having a dysfunctional relationship, it is an opportunity for both to learn valuable lessons. It's not that one is better than the other. It's that when they both have that dysfunctional relationship with one another, it's usually a wake-up call for each one of them. Usually when an empath and a narcissist is in a relationship together, again, it is the empath who usually wakes up first. Sometimes if the empath is feeling a lot of pain and anguish in the relationship, he or she will end that relationship. Unfortunately, the empath, when they walk away, should they choose to walk away and end the relationship, sometimes he or she does not learn the valuable lesson first. What happens is that they end up involved yet with another narcissistic personality. Usually the narcissist doesn't learn the valuable lesson because he or she tends to be a person who lacks foresight. They don't tend to learn from their mistakes. So when the empath walks away, again, he or she may not learn the valuable lesson prior to getting into another relationship. So they tend to repeat the pattern of engaging or involving themselves with another narcissist in another dysfunctional relationship. So this is a tough one because the empath, again, they tend to feel the energy of others. They tend to feel what others feel. So this is why I said that sometimes the empath walks away from that dysfunctional relationship before learning the valuable lesson and not before they start another relationship. Again, usually it's with another narcissist or cluster B personality if the empath doesn't learn that valuable lesson prior to beginning another relationship. All right, so having said all that, let's move forward. The vicious cycle of dysfunctional saga continues as both the empath and the narcissist begin relationships with others after their relationship has ended. The energy residue from their previous unhealthy relationships continue to affect both empath and narcissist in ways that have remained undetected. The low energy cycle has to be broken in order for either to begin healing. Very often, it is the empath that becomes aware that change must take place in order to continue personal growth to higher consciousness. Just like I stated before, it is usually the empath who can see the writing on the wall. The narcissist lacks foresight. Therefore, he or she tends to not learn from their mistakes. They don't stop and wonder and ponder whether or not they did something wrong in the dysfunctional relationship in the first place. They don't think about those things. So the vicious cycle of dysfunction does continue for both empath and narcissist. And when they continue, the narcissist, rather than the empath, is the one that continues that dysfunctional saga. The empath usually does wake up eventually. But when we have ended that dysfunctional relationship with the narcissist, usually what happens is that we forget to break that low energy cycle. We forget to clear the energy. This is something that's very common, so try not to beat yourself up about this. It is very easy to overlook that step before we go into another relationship. When we break the low energy cycle, this is one way that the healing can begin. This is also a way that the narcissist will not continue to feed off of your energy field. If you have broken the low energy cycle, then the narcissist has nothing to feed off of. First tool, seek out what the purpose of the relationship with the narcissist is. Once this question is answered, more than likely the cycle of narcissistic abuse will be interrupted. The relationship with narcissists tend to be very toxic, dysfunctional, traumatic, and painful. Therefore, it becomes very challenging to see the purpose of the relationship. Next tool, take steps to come to peace with the fact that the unhealthy relationship with the narcissist has occurred in your life. This does not mean that you are cursed, a doomed demon seed, or the worst person on the planet who's undeserving of love. So absolutely try not to take all of the responsibility on yourself. Only take the responsibility that belongs to you. You had an unhealthy relationship with a narcissist. Okay, a lot of us have. Now, this is not to belittle your experience. I simply want to make the point that when we have those unhealthy relationships with a narcissist, it is a wake-up call. Usually, it is to point out that we don't love ourselves enough. There's a lot of reasons for that relationship to have occurred. It's usually not because we are the worst person on the planet. Okay? I really wanted to point those things out. So take steps to come to peace with the fact that the unhealthy relationship has happened. A lot of things in that relationship was probably painful. However, this does not mean, again, that you are undeserving of love, that you are undeserving of anything wonderful in this life. That doesn't mean that. I want to hop back to the first tool. Seek out what the purpose of the relationship with the narcissist is or was. This is very important. This is something I've done. It's a game changer. Because once you answer that question, it places a lot of things into perspective, such as how you tend to do relationships. Once you see how you tend to do relationships, more than likely you will find the answers on how to break that dysfunctional behavior pattern. You already have the answers. Okay? So seek out the purpose of what the relationship is with the narcissist. This does not mean you have to continue to have the relationship with the narcissist in order to answer that question. Usually just by doing relationship inventory or simply reflecting. So seek out the purpose. Find what the purpose was of that relationship. Once you answer that question, more than likely it will break the low energy cycle. It will help to break it anyway. And not only that, it will interrupt the dysfunctional behavior pattern of having relationships with narcissists and cluster B personalities. Let's move forward. Discontinue attempting to make sense of the narcissist's crazy-making tactics. Your attempts to figure the narcissist out supplies him or her while complying with the terms of the unhealthy relationship. The unhealthy relationship with the narcissist is a prison meant for you to never escape. The unhealthy relationship with the narcissist is a prison, and it is designed for you never to escape. Okay, now the narcissist may be the warden of that prison, but you're the one who has the key to get out. Discontinue to make sense of what doesn't. Stop trying to figure the narcissist out. Discontinue to make yourself available to him or her. Your attempts to try to figure the narcissist out, all of their shenanigans, all of the tactics, that's only complying to the terms of the unhealthy relationship. And not only that, you're supplying the narcissist. They want you to try to figure them out. Last tool. Take steps to accept that you are who you are, and the same goes for the narcissist. Neither one of you can change the other. Let go of attempting to control him or her by breaking the low energy cycle. It's your key to freedom. Don't try to figure out the narcissist. Learn the valuable lesson and move forward. Thrive forward. And commit to your own healing. The narcissist is not going to be there for you. The narcissist has no interest in relating and connecting to you in a very healthy or balanced way. Take steps to accept who you are. Don't try to figure out who the narcissist is. Think about it. You're really not doing him or her any favors anyway. And at the same time, you're placing yourself in harm's way. Take steps to discontinue, to try to figure out the motives behind their actions. That's tough. I know it, especially for those of us who behave codependently. This is very tough because we want to have relationships that are healthy and balanced. And when we love others, we want that love back. Okay? We want some of that love back. So when it comes to having dysfunctional relationship with narcissists, this is usually a wake-up call. It's an opportunity to learn some very valuable lessons. Here's a rhetorical question. Why would you want to be in a relationship with someone who cannot or does not love you back? That is a narcissist to the T. He or she will not or they cannot love others back. So why would you want that? Figure out what the purpose of the relationship is. Once you do that, I can almost guarantee you, more than likely, you will not repeat that scenario because the dysfunctional behavior pattern has been interrupted. So take the steps to accept who you are. Invest in yourself for a change instead of the narcissist. You can't change the narcissist. He or she, they may think they can change you, and they may even attempt to do so. But really, they cannot control you and change you. So let go of controlling him or her. Break that low energy cycle. That is something that's going to help you to be free of the narcissist. Break that low energy cycle. See, narcissists and cluster B personalities, when they exist in the same space, there's going to be a lot of tension in that relationship. This is another reason why it's a dysfunctional relationship. There's a lot of tension. So when the cluster B personality or the narcissist is involved with the empath, once again, that's an opportunity for all who are involved to learn a very valuable lesson in order to grow. I do not condone, nor do I advocate any abusive behavior, nor do I condone or advocate for dysfunctional relationships. Okay, I really want to make that clear. People may be trying to figure out, why is it that narcissists and empaths seems to be so attracted to one another? Well, this is one thing I found out. Okay, and that is because the empath and the narcissist are on opposite sides of the same spectrum. To a certain degree, the narcissist and the empath are overly dependent upon others in his or her relationships. Voila, there's your two sides of the same spectrum. There's your opposite sides of the same spectrum. The narcissist does behave codependently. The empath behaves codependently. However, they tend to behave in that manner for different reasons. The empath is a person that sometimes has a hard time loving his or herself, whereas the narcissist loves themselves too much. Okay, so they're on opposite sides of the same spectrum, and they both tend to behave codependently. This is why they are so attracted to each other. There's other reasons, but that's one of the main reasons. Critical questions. Can you recall the times that the narcissist actually did or said something to influence you to feel joy? What was it? Okay, so can you think of anything that the narcissist has done or said to influence you to feel? Pay attention to that word influence. Something they have influenced you to feel, okay, which is joy. All right, so when that happened, what was it? Not really when, but what was it? What did they do? What did they say to influence you to feel joy? That's very important. Reason being is because the narcissists, they are very good at emotional manipulation. Once the empath realizes that the narcissist cannot change or control him or her, they can only influence, then they begin to see the narcissist in a new way. And they can begin to unlock that lock from that prison and become free. Second question. What is it about the narcissist that you honestly feel helps you to understand him or her? Do you feel special because of what you understand about them? See, a lot of empaths, which I think are very beautiful people, by the way, empaths, because they feel so deeply, okay? So they feel things that the narcissist may feel, but not talk about. The narcissist may not talk about those things, but the empath who's involved with him or her, they can feel those things very deeply. The empath may feel closer to the narcissist because he or she may feel that they understand the narcissist. Sometimes the empath feels special because they feel like they understand the narcissist. Yet, this does not mean that the relationship with him or her is healthy or balanced. Third question. What is the purpose of the relationship with the narcissist? What have you learned from your experience with him or her? As I stated before, I think that's the highlightable question of this entire video. What is the purpose of the relationship with the narcissist? Because once you answer that question, again, it places a lot of things into perspective. And you're least likely to repeat the dysfunctional pattern of getting involved with another narcissist or cluster B personality. What have you learned from that experience with him or her? Very important, because once you reflect on what you have learned from that experience, again, you're less likely to become involved with another cluster B personality or narcissist. Once the lesson is learned, you don't have to repeat the class. Last question. Can you envision your life without the narcissist? Why? Why not? So can you envision your life without the narcissist? And if you can, why? Is it because you have made a lot of strides in your healing? Is it because you've learned certain things since the relationship has ended? And if you cannot envision your life without the narcissist, why not? Does the narcissist have that much of an impact on your life? I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just putting the question out there. Does the narcissist really have that huge of an impact on your life that you don't feel and you don't think and you don't see that you can live without him or her? That's a codependent tendency to not be able to envision your life without the narcissist or anyone else for that matter. So once again, I'll ask the question, can you envision your life without the narcissist? Why and why not? This is one that I answered for myself, I'm going to say about a decade ago. So about 10 years ago. I wasn't out of the woods yet, okay? But I have to tell you, when I did that, when I began to envision my life without the cluster B personality, yes, it was a game changer. I began to feel better. I had a better outlook on life. I wasn't feeling as sad anymore. Again, I wasn't out the woods yet, but I can certainly see and feel the difference. So I want to encourage a lot of my stars to start doing that. Envision your life without the narcissist. The narcissists, they tend not to think about other people in that regard. They are loyal to their false self-image. All right, let's move forward. References and resources. You can find this in the description box below. I've added one of my videos here for you. Having said all that, I want to thank everybody for joining me today or tonight, wherever you may be. I'm Luminousz Star. Stay tuned for more videos.